Hello and welcome to Indus News live from Islamabad. I'm Naila Shuja and these are the headlines. With millions of votes yet to be counted, U.S. President Donald Trump has claimed victory in the 2020 presidential election. Speaking to supporters at the White House, Trump said he has an unassailable lead in the most battleground states. He pledged to move the Supreme Court overall mail-in ballots, saying great fraud has been committed to the American public. Earlier speaking in Delaware, Joe Biden said he is optimistic about the outcome of the election. Biden said he has won Arizona and feels good about Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. The Afghan government says 13 Taliban fighters have been killed in an airstrike in the southern Kandahar province. The defense ministry says the raid was carried out by the Taliban-attacked foreign forces post in the Panjwar district. However, the Taliban have rejected the claim. China says the U.S. sends out wrong signals to Taiwan with its potential drone sale deal. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Wang Weibin said Beijing will respond legitimately in light of the changing circumstances. Earlier, the U.S. State Department approved a $600 million sale of armed drones to Taiwan. The number of global COVID-19 infections has topped 47 million with over 1.2 million fatalities. In Brazil, the death toll from the coronavirus has crossed 160,000 with over 5.56 million infections. India has reported over 46,000 cases and 514 fatalities overnight, taking the death toll to over 8.3 million. In Pakistan, 18 people have lost their lives to the virus overnight, taking the toll to 6,867. For news in detail, stay tuned. We'll be right back after a short break. Welcome back. With millions of votes yet to be counted, U.S. President Donald Trump has claimed victory in the 2020 presidential election. Speaking to supporters at the White House, Trump said he has an unassailable lead in the most battleground states. He pledged to move the Supreme Court over mail-in ballots, saying great fraud has been committed to the American public.
We were getting ready for a big celebration. We were winning everything, and all of a sudden it was just called off. The results tonight have been phenomenal, and we are getting ready. I mean, literally, we were just all set to get outside and just celebrate something that was so beautiful, so good. Such a vote, such a success. The citizens of this country have come out in record numbers. This is a record. There's never been anything like it to support our incredible movement.
Meanwhile, Democratic candidate Joe Biden has called for a calm and patience till every single vote is counted. Speaking in Delaware, Joe Biden said he is optimistic about the outcome of the election. Biden said he has won Arizona and feels good about Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. He said Americans might have to wait for more than 48 hours for the final results.
We knew because of the unprecedented early vote and the mail-in vote that it was going to take a while. We're going to have to be patient until the hard work of tallying votes is finished. And it ain't over till every vote is counted, every ballot is counted. But we're feeling good. We're feeling good about where we are.
The United States is electing its 59th president. Home to 50 states and 9 standard time zones, people across the country embodied versatility while casting ballots. The day of reckoning has arrived for President Donald Trump and Democratic rival Joe Biden. Iconic landmarks in New York City were lit in red, white, and blue, and no American was a no-show for the 2020 presidential election. In true Texas style, voters arrived by horseback at a polling station in Houston.
I just think I'm really, Black heritage is very important to me, and growing up in this area, we use our horses to go to school, we use our horses to go to the store, and why not use your horse to go vote?
In Los Angeles, voters were treated to a musical accompaniment by a mariachi band as they cast their ballots at Dodger Stadium. The band serenaded 73-year-old first-time voter Salvadora Martir as she made her choice for president.
They shouldn't treat immigrants badly, like we are worthless, because we are people too, like you. We also need help from the government.
For the first time ever, inmates at the Denver County Jail in Colorado were allowed to vote in person. In other events, rapper Kanye West cast his first ever vote in a presidential election for himself. China says the United States sends out wrong signals to Taiwan on potential drone sale deal. This comes after the U.S. State Department approved a $600 million sale of armed drones to Taiwan. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Wang Weibin said Beijing will take legitimate responses in light of the changing circumstances. Earlier, the U.S. State Department said the notification to Congress is the last step before finalizing the weapons sale. It said the notification gives Congress 30 days to raise objections to the transfer of technology to Taiwan. Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan has thanked Bosnia-Herzegovina for its support over the Kashmir issue. He was addressing a joint press conference with the chairman of the presidency, Bosnia, Selçuk Dalzaforic. Prime Minister Imran Khan said the two leaders condemned the publication of blasphemous cartoons in France. Dalzaforic thanked Pakistan for sending peace troops to Bosnia. He said Sarajevo will keep on supporting Pakistan as the two countries have helped each other in tough times. Dalzaforic also thanked the Pakistani government for its hospitality. Earlier, Prime Minister Imran Khan received the visiting dignitary at his residence and presented him with a guard of honor. The visiting Bosnian official also met Foreign Minister Shah Mahmoud Qureshi. The two countries signed memorandums of understanding in different sectors. The Afghan government says 13 Taliban fighters have been killed in an airstrike in southern Kandahar province. The defense ministry says the raid was carried out after Taliban attacked Afghan forces posts in the Pajvi district. In a statement, the ministry said a large number of Taliban's weapons and ammunition were also destroyed. The Taliban have not yet commented on the claim, but a Taliban spokesperson said they have killed a number of Afghan soldiers, including a commander in the Kunduz province. He said the Taliban carried out an attack on an army base in the Navabad area of the Khanabad district. Azerbaijan says its troops have forced Armenian army to retreat from the frontline areas in the Terter and Akhzhabadi regions. The Azeri Defense Ministry says its forces retaliated to a fresh round of attacks by Armenia on the villages in these regions. In a statement, the Ministry of the Azeri forces killed a number of Armenian troops. It said they also destroyed a large number of Armenian tanks, howitzers, and military trucks. The ministry added Azeri troops are monitoring the operational situation at the moment. Over 1,100 people have been killed since the clashes over the Nagorno-Karabakh region erupted on September 27th. Swiss police have arrested 2 men for their possible links to the primary suspect in the deadly terror attack in Vienna. In a statement, the police confirmed that both men are Swiss citizens and were arrested in the city of Winterthur. The police said the arrests were made in coordination with the Austrian authorities. Meanwhile, at least 14 people have been arrested in Austria following the attack in central Vienna. Austrian Interior Minister Karl Nehammer has also said there was no evidence of a second perpetrator so far involved in the attack. Austria has declared a 3-day national mourning after the attack that left 4 civilians dead and 22 others injured. Meanwhile, ISIS claimed responsibility for the attack without providing evidence. Meanwhile, 2 Turkish and a Palestinian are being hailed as heroes for helping save a policeman and 2 women during a gun attack in Vienna. A 23-year-old Palestinian, Osama Joda, was working at a nearby restaurant when the gunmen started shooting at people in the street. Joda braved the attacker to bring the wounded police officer to an ambulance. He was assisted by two Turkish Austrians, Mikhail Ozin and Recep Tayyip Gültekin. Gültekin got hurt with a pellet while carrying a wounded woman to a restaurant. Though police told them to stand back for their own safety, the expats took the social responsibility to help people. Vienna police thanked Joda by honoring him with a medal, while Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan called Ozin and Gültekin and told them to continue to help Austrians. Turkish Foreign Minister Mevlut Cavusoglu has also hailed the two men, saying they did what a human, a Muslim, and a Turk should do. South Korea has resumed tours to southeastern parts of the demilitarized zone, which divides the two Koreas. The move comes after the country's military held a North Korean man who crossed the heavily protected border. Addressing a ceremony at the truce village of Pyeongmunum with the DMZ Unification Minister Lee In-young called for free travel among all Koreans within the zone. Lee said re-establishing round-the-clock communication channels will be the basis for restoring inter-Korean relations. He made no mention of North Korean man in custody. Earlier, Seoul's Joint Chief of Staff said a man was found on the eastern end of the demilitarized zone. He added there was no unusual movement among Pyongyang's troops. The number of global COVID-19 infections has topped 47 million with over 1.2 million fatalities. In Brazil, the death toll from the coronavirus has crossed 160,000 with over 5.56 million infections. The hopes brought about by the slowing down of the virus in the summer are nowhere to be seen as winter sets in. The number of coronavirus patients in United States hospital breached about 50,000, the highest level in nearly 3 months. But over in Argentina, in a rare sign of relief, a rolling 7-day average of new cases has dipped significantly. The South American country imposed a strict lockdown in March, but as restrictions were eased, cases climbed rapidly above 1 million, with one of the highest testing positive rates in the world.
We have been very concerned to see where the horizon was. The horizon is now starting to come into sight, and that is why we have to be optimistic, and that is why we have to be calmer than ever. We have never been this close to ending the disease.
Europe has passed a bleak milestone after reporting more than 11 million coronavirus cases. In Hungary, a nighttime curfew has been imposed to curb a fast spread of coronavirus infections. Spain says a full lockdown is not off the table, but now it is not the right moment for such a drastic measure to be imposed. France has recorded 854 deaths from the virus overnight, the highest since April 15th. French health minister says one Parisian is getting infected every 30 seconds, while every 15 minutes a COVID-19 patient arrives in the hospital.
La tension est très forte à l'hôpital.
The pressure is very high in hospitals, in the emergency rooms, in medical units, in intensive care units, in public hospitals, in private hospitals, in big metropolitan areas, and in less urban zones. We have a pressure on health system that is increasing, which reflects the pressure linked to this epidemic. On the second wave, and health workers have a lot of work, lots and lots of work, day and night.
India has reported 514 deaths in the last 24 hours, pushing the tally to over 123,000. The country's caseload has crossed 8.3 million mark as more than 46,000 people tested positive for the virus overnight. Meanwhile, a study of the lungs of people who have died from the COVID-19 virus has found persistent and extensive damage in most cases. This may help doctors understand what is behind a syndrome known as the long COVID, in which patients suffer ongoing symptoms for months. In Indonesia, at least 161 doctors have lost their lives to COVID-19 so far. In a statement, Indonesian Medical Association said 11 doctors have died over the past week. The association's leader, Adlib Humaldi, said a majority fatalities came from East Java with 33 cases and Jakarta with 24. He said 73% of the deaths were reported after relaxation in restrictions in high-risk provinces in July. Khomaldi said the public must undergo swab tests to detect the infection at the earliest to reduce the burden on medics. Indonesia has so far reported over 418,000 cases with more than 14,000 deaths. In Pakistan, 18 people have lost their lives, while over 1,300 people have tested positive for COVID-19 in the past 24 hours. The country's death toll has risen to 6,867, with over 337,000 cases. The health ministry said there are over 14,000 active COVID-19 cases in the country. It said more than 315,000 patients have recovered so far. The ministry said over 147,000 cases have been detected in the province of Sindh. Meanwhile, Punjab has reported over 105,000 cases. In the capital, Islamabad, more than 20,000 have tested positive for the disease so far. And now it's time for a short break. Stay with us. Welcome back. In Cameroon, 11 primary school teachers have been kidnapped from 2 schools in the restive northwest region. The school authorities say armed separatists stormed the premises in the Kumbo town. Officials said gunmen initially abducted the students as well, but later released them with a warning not to go to school. The army said a search and rescue mission was underway. Armed separatists threatened to paralyze school activities in Cameroon until a ceasefire agreement is reached. This comes after 10 days gunmen stormed a school in another western town, killing at least 7 children. At least 3 people have died as Hurricane Eta batters the coastline of Central American states of Nicaragua and Honduras. The Category 4 hurricane has ripped off roofs, knocked down trees and power lines, and caused state media reported 2 miners were killed by a mudslide caused by the hurricane. Meanwhile, in neighboring Honduras, the fire department confirmed the death of a young in a landslide. The U.S. National Hurricane Center says Eta struck the coast, blowing potentially devastating winds of 225 kilometers per hour. Eta is forecast to weaken as it moves into the northern Nicaragua and hit central Honduras on Thursday. Pakistan has successfully started green recovery process to tackle challenges to the economy amid the coronavirus pandemic. Thousands of people will be employed in different environmental projects as per the initiative. What are some of the contours of this program? This report by our correspondent Minahil Ahmed has the package details.
Worldwide, thousands have lost their livelihood due to the pandemic, and it's no different in Pakistan. But the government is striving to mitigate these impacts, giving birth to the Green Stimulus Initiative to overcome unemployment. Advisor to the Prime Minister on Climate Change, Amin Aslam, says over 80,000 people from across the country will now have jobs.
Prime Minister announced what is called the Green Stimulus Package. The Green Stimulus means that in this time of trial for everybody during the COVID era, we have created projects and we have created opportunities out of this situation so that people can do, in 3 areas. One is planting of trees and protection of forests. We are hiring people. We have already hired about 84,000 people across the provinces. They've been done by the provincial forest departments, and we want to increase it to almost 6 lakh people.
Moreover, the government is regulating brick kilns across Pakistan. Minister for Climate Change Taj Gul said, through streamlining these, new job opportunities will be created.
Turning your brick kilns, especially there are more than 18 to 20,000 brick kilns in Pakistan. They are not registered, and they do not have money to turn its technology into green technology or zigzag technology. But even then, it's my government's first step to regulate actually this 18 to 20,000 brick kilns and turn them into zigzag technology.
These efforts are a testament to Pakistan's resolve to not only counter environmental challenges, but also unemployment setbacks. Minahil Ahmed, Indus News, Islamabad.
An ancient baking method is seeing a revival in the Jordanian city of Ajloun, thanks to a woman intent on preserving the use of primitive clay ovens. More in this report. 44-year-old Sabah Bari Salman grew up with the scent of freshly baked bread every day. The mother of 5 recalls that her own mother built her an oven in their small garden. Sabah reminisces that her mother used the oven to make a type of flatbread in the Tabun region.
As far back as I can remember, my mother would knead and bake. We never ate bread from the market, so I got used to this idea, but I never did it at home. Even when I first got married, my mother would bring me her bread, but she fell ill and she became unable to deliver the bread. This forced me to learn how to bake the bread at home.
Clay ovens have been used in the Middle East since biblical times, most commonly before the invention of gas and electric ovens. They usually have a cylindrical shape and are powered by burning logs or coal.
As far as I am concerned, I believe everyone should return to this form of baking. In this area I am living in, once I started doing this at home, all my neighbors decided to buy ovens from me and start baking at their own homes. They no longer buy bread.
In addition to selling the oven she builds, Bani Salman also makes income by hosting tour groups. She gives them a brief history of the clay ovens along with giving them a taste of her delicious baked goods. The stock market debut by the Chinese tech giant Ant Group has been halted after its Shanghai listing was suspended. Shanghai authorities said changes in the financial technology regulatory environment led to the suspension. The listing was due to go ahead in the Shanghai and Hong Kong on Thursday. Ant Group, backed by billionaire Jack Ma, was set to sell shares worth about $34.4 billion. Ant runs Alipay, where cash, checks, and credit cards have long been eclipsed by e-payment devices and apps. Alipay says the total volume of payments is on its platform in China for the year ending in June was $17.6 trillion. Most European markets are trading lower as investors monitor the results of the U.S. presidential election. The Pan-European Stock 600 is hovering around the flat line, with banks shedding over 2%. London's FTSE edged up, while Frankfurt's DAX has slipped over 0.5%. Paris's SAC 40 has gained fractionally. The FTSE MBI in Italy has also shed over 0.5%. Earlier, most Asian markets gained over optimism regarding U.S. election results, with the exception of Australian stocks. In football, Real Madrid beat Inter Milan 3-2 in their first Champions League to win this season. Madrid are now leveled with Shakhtar Donetsk of 4 points in the B group. Karim Benzema put Real in the lead, followed by Sergio Ramos capitalizing on the lead with a header. But Rodrigo was Real's hero as his late strike secured a win for his side. In another match, Liverpool thrashed Atalanta 5-0 with a terrific hat-trick from Diogo Jota. Mohamed Salah and Sadio Mane also scored one for the Reds. With all 3 wins in Group D games, Liverpool are on top with 9 points. In Group A fixture, Bayern Munich defeated Red Bull Salzburg 6-2, maintaining their winning streak in the tournament. Robert Lewandowski scored twice, whereas Jerome Boateng, Leroy Sane, and Lucas Hernandez scored one each for Bayern. Bayern are on top of their group with 9 points, followed by Atletico Madrid. Meanwhile, Manchester City downed Olympiacos 3-0 to remain on top of Group C with 9 points. Pakistan's Olympic gold medal winning hockey player Abdul Rashid Jr. has died at the age of 79. Pakistan's Hockey Federation President Brigadier Khalid Sajjad Khokhar expressed grief over the legend's demise. Rashid was one of the best center forwards of his time. He was part of the side which won the 1971 World Championships in Spain. Then he bagged the gold medal in 1986 Olympics in Mexico. Rashid went on to win the silver and bronze medals in 1972 and 1976 games in Germany and Canada, respectively. And now it's time to take a look at the weather around the world. For the latest news updates, you can follow us on our social media at indus.news.